Welcome, everyone, to Studio Day Heffrey, where it is time for a mailbag. I just asked Twitter this morning, what do you guys want to hear about? What do you want to talk about with the Dallas Cowboys? And I have a bunch of your answers. So a lot of stuff about the draft, Cowboys receiving core, offensive line, all over the place here. Number one, the Condi man. It's like candy, but Condi, which makes me think of either a con man or a... Don't worry about any of that. It seems like the Nakobe Dean hype has dissipated. Do you think he's a realistic option at 24? Yes. Or maybe I should rephrase to like, he better be. Don't overthink it. Like there are positions where if you have big questions about a guy's athleticism or something, at some point you go, Purdue wide receiver, David Bell. If you're going to be a small receiver and you're slow, it's going to make it hard. It makes it hard for me to use a pick in the first 2 days of the draft. You get into the 5th, 6th, 7th round, sure, take a shot at it. Tape's good, take a shot at it. Nakobe Dean's tape is good. I can't speak to why he didn't work out at their pro day. I don't think it's an unfair assumption to say that he didn't think, or his camp didn't think they were going to wow with the times they put up, and that the tape was good enough that they said, let's just not do it. Let's not hurt ourselves. But his tape doesn't leave questions. Nakobe Dean, linebacker, Georgia, is small, quote, small for an NFL linebacker. And you can't convince me he's, quote, slow, because I've watched him play enough. So I'm not worried about it. That dude is a monster. If teams overthink Nakobe Dean, then somebody in the 20s, 30s is going to get a hell of a player because the rest of the league overthought something. Like if you take, a team could very well take Devin Lloyd, the Utah linebacker, over Nakobe Dean. But if there is another linebacker that goes before Nakobe Dean, that team is making a mistake. That's the way that is. I'd take Nakobe Dean in a heartbeat. Now, yesterday, Stephen Jones was talking about Jabril Cox and sliding right in and filling in for Keanu Neal. So the Cowboys aren't going to view linebacker as a really big need. They're not going into the draft thinking we have a huge need for a starting caliber linebacker. Combine that with the fact that linebacker is towards the bottom of the positional value list, if you wanted to put one together, and they may let Nakobe Dean go if he's there at 24, but if he's there at 24 and the Cowboys pick him at 24, be happy. That dude is a baller. And then Nakobe Dean can play a bunch of linebacker, and a bunch of time he can play with Jabril Cox, and then a bunch of the time Micah Parsons can go tackle the quarterback. It'll be great. DC4L Jerry said, what's the receiver core look like assuming Gallup misses 2 or 3 weeks in the beginning of the season? I am assuming that Michael Gallup's going to miss 2 or 3 weeks in the beginning of the season. And so, as it is currently constructed, your receiving core would be CeeDee Lamb, James Washington, Noah Brown, Simi Fehoko, I guess is receiver 4. That's not good enough, and that won't be their receiver room in week 1 of the season. So if anybody is out there and you're freaking out, oh my God, Gallup's going to miss time and our receiving group isn't great, no, this stupid team, that's not going to be your receivers. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of offseason left. That will not be your receiving core. Write that down. Will not be your receiving core. From Pola T, which is the opposite of Pusha T, is it realistic Derek Stingley could drop to 24? I'm not sure where this one came from today. My assumption is because I think it was Mike Tannenbaum, former NFL GM. I think he did a mock draft like what I would do if I was each team's GM. And he put the Cowboys with Derek Stingley at number 24. Let me see if I can get that pulled up. Yeah, here we go. Hutchinson, Gardner, Hamilton. Jeez, Kyle Hamilton at 3. Garrett Wilson, Evan Neal, Kenny Pickett, Kayvon Thibodeau, Drake London, Iquanu, Jermaine Johnson, Chris Olave, Trayvon Walker, Charles Cross, Tyler Linderbaum, Devin Lloyd, Kenyon Green, Nakobe Dean, Trevor Penning, Trent McDuffie, Malik Willis, Andrew Booth, Jahan Dotson, David Ojabo at 23 with the Achilles. Derek Stingley, number 24. Is it possible that he could get there? Sure. The odds? I would say 20 to 30% chance Stingley drops to 24. You can try to downplay the questions people are going to have about Derek Stingley, but they're very real. A guy who either has injury concerns or doesn't care to play sometimes. Like, that's the only way you can go with this, is after his freshman year where he put up the tape of a guy who was no doubt going to be a top 5 pick. Tape after that is not as good and missing a bunch of games. And so the question is going to be, is this a guy that's going to be banged up a lot, or is this a guy that if things aren't going well isn't all that interested in playing? That's real. But I just have a hard time thinking he won't be the second cornerback taken. Maybe somebody could go Trent McDuffie, but that's a different set of questions when you're talking about a corner who has the T-Rex arms, the sub 30-inch arms. To take somebody with even just that one question, because Trent McDuffie's a baller, but even that one question, like Stingley has the size you want and his freshman tape is probably better than any of McDuffie's tape. Maybe somebody could take Andrew Booth at Clemson before Derek Stingley. So I'll say I don't think he's going to be there, but it's definitely not impossible that he's going to be there. Nolan is Batman. Saw a mock by Bucky that has us getting Mafe with Dean, Green, Johnson, and Burks on the board. Thoughts? Bleh. With all due respect, of course. Boye Mafe, Minnesota, is one of those guys that is really athletic, and he's really athletic, which to me makes for a guy that in the second or third round, because pass rush is at a premium in the NFL, you take a shot at him. At 24, if you are talking about Nakobe Dean, Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson, Treylon Burks on the board, and they take what in my mind is a sort of developmental edge guy, that would be a bad pick, according to me. But it's a premium position. That's why we're going to see edge names come off the board in the first round that I won't have graded as a first-round player because it's a premier position. Good ones make $25 million a year. So if you can get a guy that's pretty good at 24 or between 20 and 30, and he makes $2-3 million a year, essentially you're getting over $20 million a year in added value because of the position he plays. So guys like that could go in the first round. It ain't for me. At Meta Beta, best case scenario for rounds 1 and 2. Offensive line, wide receiver in some order. Either order. But I think the best case scenario for the Cowboys to me is probably Kenyon Green, Zion Johnson, or Tyler Linderbaum for your offensive line. Trouble is, if it's Linderbaum, I might need to fire at offensive line again in the second or third round because I still haven't gotten my guard. You can't convince me Connor McGovern's going to be the starting left guard for this team. Just don't believe it. So best case scenario for round 1 and 2 is maybe either Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson to play left guard. And then in the second round, man, if I could get like George Pickens or Sky Moore, that would be incredible. I kind of think they're too good to make it to 56. So maybe I need to think about somebody like John Mechie at Alabama. Maybe Jalen Tolbert at South Alabama. At all our teams suck, how many QBs and how many wide receivers do you expect to go in the first round? Quarterbacks, Malik Willis. I'll say it'll be at least 3. Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Sam Howell. 5 aren't going to go. I'll say 3. 3, maybe 4. Somewhere in that range. Wide receivers that I expect to go in the first round. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Treylon Burks. Where's my board? I will say at least 6 receivers go in the first round. At least. At Word, wide receivers in the second round. Just addressed it. Haven't heard you guys talk about Kaiir Elam much. Is he a realistic option for Dallas at 24? Again, premier position. He's a Florida corner, full size, can play press man coverage. Could Elam be a first-round pick? Sure. Would I want him in the first round? I don't think so. Like, he's got some really high-level tape. And then he's got some not so good. So it's very much a up and down kind of film watching session with Elam. Love it at 56. Hate it at 24. At ZSlantXPost88. Since he's your pet cat, Jeff, what is Sky Moore's single best quality? What a great question. Every question about Sky Moore is a great question. Sky Moore's single best quality? He's uncoverable? I guess getting open is the biggest thing. So I'll just say getting open, since you made me pick one. And then I'm going to give you numbers 2, 3, and 4. Unpressable. Feet are too good at the line of scrimmage, whether he's outside or in the slot. Catch radius is bigger than you'd expect for a guy who's 5'10". After catch, he's hell on wheels. Good hands, good routes. Sky Moore's a beast. Sky Moore's the receiver in this class. I'm telling you. You're going to get sick of it. You're probably already sick of this. If I had to bet a pinky toe, give me the one wide receiver in this draft that absolutely will not bust. Sky Moore. Done. And I'm doing that with a small school guy. That's how much I believe in his tape. With all the fifth-round picks Dallas has, this is from John, and the available cap, do you think Dallas is seeking some Robert Quinn-like trades instead of shopping for free agents? I hope, because that right there is the secret. Like, the Rams can pretend they don't like to draft. Aaron Donald's homegrown. Cooper Kupp is homegrown. That's a first and a third-round pick. And so many of their starters are day 2 and 3 draft picks of theirs. Gather picks. They don't have to be first-rounders. It's weird because this is kind of conflicting, but it's not conflicting. So hear me out. The draft picks in the late 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Odds are you're not going to pick an NFL starter. Long shot that you're going to find a starter there. Now, if you tell me, like the Cowboys have, that you have 4 fifth-round picks and a 6, and they're missing their 7, I think that's right, and you're going to give me 5 shots on day 3 and a 4th-round pick, I got 6 shots on day 3, yeah, I'm going to find you an NFL starter. Maybe 2. So individually, each pick means very little, likely. But if I'm going to get to fire 5 or 6 darts, I'm going to find some players. And if I could go from 6 darts to 5 and pick up somebody's, let's say, left guard on the last year of a deal that's in his 30s, but he's a quality guard, but he's not going to be on that team. It's like the Robert Quinn of left guards, whoever that is. Hell yeah, you fire him one of your 5th-round picks. I still got darts to throw at the board, and I know that I just got a quality NFL starter with a 5th-round pick. And if he's in the last year of his deal, I let him walk after that. I get a comp pick. That's how you win. Dynamic JKU. Why is no one talking about an extension for Pollard? That's a sensitive subject. I don't want to talk about it. I love Tony Pollard. It's my guy. He still plays running back. So unless he wants to be on the cheapy cheap, I'm really not interested in a Tony Pollard extension. Just draft somebody in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round and keep it moving. And I love Tony Pollard. You want to sign a $6 million a year deal? Come on. But if you have a breakout year and the league realizes how much better you are than Ezekiel Elliott at this point, and somebody wants to pay him $10 million a year, I'm going to pay a guy $800,000 to do that job. And he may not do it quite as well, but it won't be that noticeable because it's running back. If Chris Olave is there at the pick, do we take a good look at him? Yes. It's from Uncle Creepy. Yes, of course they do. He's on their 30 visit list. He's one of the guys that they're going to bring in to get to know before the draft. So absolutely positively, if Chris Olave is available, he will be one of the guys that's in consideration for the Cowboys. Bryce wanted to know, why do most fans forget about player development and progression? Seems like we draft players at positions of need in mid to later rounds. They get forgotten about from previous drafts. Sure, and that's a part of your team getting better. Is Oso Odigizua should be better. Chauncey Golston should be better. Sean Wright is the one guy that I'm not holding out a lot of hope for. I apologize. But, yeah, you've got guys. Jabril Cox should be a guy that is able to help your football team this year. So that's 3 guys on defense that should be better. Trayvon Diggs can be better. I don't know if he can be more impactful than he was last year, but he can definitely be better. Micah Parsons will be better. you got a bunch of dudes that are going to be better. But I know it's fun. People get mad. They hate the Cowboys, or they love the Cowboys, and for that reason they hate the Cowboys. And so it's fun to kick them in the junk instead of just being like, oh, yeah, they do generally field a pretty competitive team, draft and develop well. And we'll see. When the quarterback is healthy and ready to rock, maybe this will be a really good team. All right, that's all I got for today. We do have Plug and Play tonight, 7 o'clock. I haven't talked to Broadus or Dane today, but I'm assuming one or both of them are available. If not, I'll just stare into a camera for an hour. But yeah, Plug and Play NFL Draft Show will be tonight. So be ready to rock and roll on that, 7 o'clock at youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh. Twitch, Jeff Cavanaugh. I think it goes to my Facebook page. And eventually it goes to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I think Google Podcasts. It'll be all over the place. But that's all I got for you today. Leave in the comments where I screwed up. And remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everyone. I love you. Bye.